And we are back for Chuuch Live Show, Season 3, Episode 9. This episode, we're featuring on art and therapy. First and foremost, I want to big up all my affiliates, everybody that's been rocking with us from day one. Dine with D, Fame Supply Co., Kaya Publishing, Project F Word, big up Tara, Impenetrable Clothing, J420, everybody that's been jumping with the Waterfront Studios, everybody that's been rocking with us from day one. I want to also big up, everybody that's been going through a lot of struggles with this day and age right now, because really and truly we got to be kind and gentle with each other. And that's why I wanted to have this episode, because we have a lot of artists out there that are going through a lot of shit that they don't talk about. And society doesn't really support them. You know what I mean? Like, you have art and, you have this corporate world that we live in society where it's like, you're just to go, you're just to get, but nobody's really supporting what it is that you're doing out here. There's not resources. Everybody's just telling you go to university and get a job. But when you're an artist, it's not like that. It doesn't work that way. So, without further ado, I really and truly want to bring out an amazing guest to come and chop it up with me. He's been in this industry for years. He's a vet at what he does, beyond talented. And you know what? He's in the bloodline. Big up Steven. Come on deck, Steven Taylor. Yes. What up? Yeah, first and foremost, please tell everybody who you are.
I'm Steven Taylor, and I'm also an visual artist.
Yes. And when did you get started doing art? Like, really and truly, and how and why?
Well, how I got started, it started in a frame shop on Bloor Street. I was getting something that I completed, framed, and I saw a man there. His name was Fred Small, and he was actually representing artists. Right? So he had asked me if I was interested in a project.
Yeah.
It had to do with the Iraq War, if you can believe it or not.
Wow.
So I designed the poster. It was called Spirit of America. So, if I had that kind of work now, if someone came to me with that kind of project, I probably wouldn't take it now because my views have changed.
Yeah.
But, it seemed profitable at the time, actually. So that was my first stint into the professional art arena.
And from there, I know you've got your hands. Just tell us, you've done some amazing work. You've got your art into some amazing places. So just talk about that.
Well, actually, how it all started, started in the 90s at my 9-to-5 job. When I used to take breaks, I used to keep my hand flowing by drawing. So what happened, my co-workers used to take notice of what I was doing. So what they did, a lot of people were coming to me with portraits to have portraits done. So in a way, I had two jobs. I had the job there working at my usual 9-to-5, and plus I was doing portraits.
Yeah.
So it's like I was doing portraits for the whole company.
Wow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The universe don't play.
No, universe doesn't play. As long as you put out the proper energy, you're definitely going to get something back out of it.
Yeah. So when it started, when did you start to take it professionally?
I started to take it professionally slightly after the Bloor Street thing with the framing, the frame shop with Fred Small, because he was the actual person that had me do the Spirit of America poster. After that, I started to take it more seriously because that was like a first stint into the professional world, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where have you seen, if you could say some positions of where you're really proud of your work has gone?
Where has it been?
Yeah.
Well,
things that you're proud of,
very proud of?
Yeah, of course.
Well, Ontario Hydro had me. There was a dignitary some years back. I think he was the first MP, black MP in Ontario. His name was Thomas Hubbard.
Wow.
And I did that poster, and I was, I was quite proud of it because there was an auditorium. I was there, and
Nice.
it was quite nice.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Got the recognition.
And
It
how
was
did you
nice.
how did you start getting involved in children's illustrations and work like that?
Well, actually, I started at Prentice Hall. I met another guy on the street, and we got to talking. And he told me he was doing the English as a second language series,
Yeah.
but he was getting burnt out. So he asked me if I wanted to take it on, and I did. So I went to the Prentice Hall agency in Scarborough. I went all the way down there. I met the art director, and she liked my work, so I took it on. But I'm telling you, it wasn't an easy venture at all. I mean, my hand was very, very tired because it was one of the first real professional jobs that I had that was very involved. You know what I mean? There was about 50, 60 pages of illustrations. They were black and white, simple, but they were very labor intensive. Yeah.
Nice. And when you look at, like when you were thinking back to those times, like what inspired you to want to become an artist?
Well,
Like where did you find that you had the talent and the gift?
more or less when I was at work, I found out, because I saw all the requests for the portraits, right? So that more or less told me, because they were like flooding over. I mean, I had work and I had work. I was working at the full-time job, but plus I had all these portraits as well. So I said to myself, like I'm making money doing this. Why don't I try to take it in the professional avenue and try to do something? So that was more or less when I really started to get the idea to go professional. Around that time.
And do you feel like art is therapeutic to you? And if so, why?
It is therapeutic because when I'm drawing, actually, like I go into a different zone. Like it's almost like a heightened consciousness type of thing.
Consciousness.
Yeah. Heightened because when you really get conscious is when your spirit's quieted. So if your spirit is quiet, you're able to get answers from beyond, right? Because once you quiet your spirit and you have your subconscious mind coming through, because your conscious mind it's always telling you to do something over
The
and
ego,
over again.
the ego,
Right.
the monkey mind.
Exactly. But once you use your subconscious mind, you're able to look at things objectively without bias. So then you can make your strongest decisions because your mind is calm and you're able to focus much better.
So you found that you were able to tap into that energy space when
Yeah.
you were creating.
Like I was in the zone, definitely, because my mind's quiet and I'm working.
So do you find that when you're doing and creating, you use your artist therapy?
Yeah, for sure, because I'm sure there's certain colors, plus the heightened consciousness. I'm there already.
Yeah, so
Right,
it just
so
naturally
it's just
happens. It's like a
naturally
meditation naturally.
Right, it's a meditation.
And do you feel that, like, and this is totally off, do you feel that as an artist that it's a part of the gift that you're given?
Well, it's hard to say because a lot of things you can become very, very proficient at repetition because a lot of things is repetition. It's very difficult to say you have a gift. Although there are artists that I know where both parents are artists, so somehow it came through the lineage.
Yeah.
You understand?
Interesting.
So they had the aptitude. I guess they were born with the aptitude. But usually, I always put it this way: if you have 5,000 pennies, that's your attempts. You understand? And then you put a glass over there in an unimaginable place in the room, and you keep on pitching. That's your attempts, right? And every
Like
attempt,
owning the craft. It's
Exactly.
owning it. Yeah.
yeah, because everything is repetition.
Of course.
Right? If you keep repeating the process, you get closer and closer and closer to the goal.
Most definitely.
You know.
And do you find that that's how you kind of expand it? Like to where you're expanding your consciousness, you're expanding yourself to the craft and you're owning it.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be a mental thing for sure.
Of course.
No,
go ahead.
without that mental part of it, because everything in life is mental. You know, sports, once you can claim the mental part of something, like you can own it, right? 75% of the battle is finished. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Totally. And do you feel a lot of artists, I don't want to generalize, but I know, like, for myself, being in the field that I'm in, do you feel that it goes along with depression?
Yeah.
And why?
Why? Because artists are undervalued. You know, they only place emphasis on the sales of your work. They don't really place emphasis on the quality of your work.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of the time you have to drop your passion to take on, you know, a 9-to-5, right? You have to drop the passion, and sometimes the 9-to-5 can overshadow your actual passion. You don't really get to it like you want to get to it. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm. I totally understand there. And do you think they should have art therapy in schools to teach?
Yeah, they should have art therapy, definitely. Because, you know, children will approach it, and if there's no right or wrong, you know what I mean, then they're able to express themselves without boundaries. Because once you have boundaries, you don't really find your true potential. You understand what I'm saying?
So true. It's like rules. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's. You ever seen that movie Limitless? Where
I think so.
It's like you're not being confined.
No, exactly.
You know,
because
and
it's a box. It's like a mental box that they put you in. You know what I mean? And if you come outside of that box, that's when it's most rewarding.
Yeah, they say you can't find success in your comfort zone.
Yeah, you can.
You can't find. You think you can?
Well, to a certain extent, not without too much sacrifice. You have to sacrifice a lot.
Facts.
Right? A lot of sacrifice.
Very true.
You know, because I've sacrificed a lot. Sacrificed maybe back injury, you know, bending over, doing something for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, back injury and, you know, but you keep going on because what keeps me going is the love. It's actually the love
and the passion for the art, eh?
Love and the passion for sure, man.
Most definitely. I mean?
Yeah.
And do you think they should have, do you think society isolates artists and causes depression because of the lack of support and resources in our community?
And plus the emphasis is placed not on the quality of the work, like I said before, but more or less on the sales. You know what I mean? Not unless the quality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And do you think they've built it that way, kind of designed it so that we don't focus on our purpose and our craft?
Sure. You know, it takes you away because if you want to implement certain ideas and if you want to have an obedient public, you understand what I'm saying to you?
Of course.
You have to control a lot of their routine. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Take away their routine and leave them, you know, almost like ambitionless. And then they're weak.
And programmed.
You can program to do this, to do that, to do your liking. But once you find yourself, once you find your inner light, you know what I mean, and you focus on that,
you're limitless.
See that light, you know.
Yep. It's so real.
Engulfing your body. That's pure power.
Yeah.
It's
like spiritual enlightenment, and it's unstoppable.
But you see, the higher-ups don't want us to really know how to connect with ourselves and find that oneness.
No, and that's why they have the constant programming to keep the mind, the vibration lower.
Exactly, and that's why with our children, they've limited them to a certain degree because you start with the kids. But once the kids' minds are opened and you let them express themselves, like you mentioned, art therapy, right? Once you let the children express themselves, do what they want. You know what I mean? Like paint the way they want to paint. You know what I mean? Express themselves the way they want to express themselves. And then what happens is that because they come in contact with the one in themselves, and then the opportunities are limitless.
That's facts.
Based on knowledge of self. And you find knowledge of self when you're very young, when you're a young child.
Like from birth till like 5. The first 5 years, right?
The first 5 years. If you are getting strong encouragement and lots of confidence and told basically that you're beautiful, things can happen. You know what I mean? Because you're instilling the child's subconscious mind with power.
Very true.
Confidence and belief in himself. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Very true. And if you could work with any artist, and I'm gonna make that even more direct.
Because
if you could work with any painter.
Painter?
Yes. Who would it be and why?
Well, I love Neil Adams. He's a comic book artist, you know, strange enough. I would work with him because of his master of anatomy. He's a master of anatomy, and plus he's an excellent storyteller with his work. You know, the angles that he uses. He's just an incredible storyteller and just an incredible draftsman. A definite inspiration.
Nice.
Neil Adams.
Nice.
Comic book boy.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. And if you could give one message to the world right now, what would it be and why?
And why would it be? To love one another. What we have to do is stop the propagating media machine from dividing us.
Facts.
We have to love one another. That's what we have to do.
Facts.
Love one another.
I agree with that. Well, I want to thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Oh, man. You're nothing but love and light. And I'm thank you so
LLC.
Yes.
That is?
Yes.
My lovely literary cousin. My lovely little. My little lovely literary cousin. That's said properly.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome,
and you know I have nothing but love for you.
All right.
Love and light.
It was a slice, man.
Yeah, man. You know what it is. Big up Steven Taylor. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. Plus, I'm going to probably be joining an online thing soon. And you'll find me on that. But just keep watching the Instagram and you'll see some stuff. Okay? Just keep it up. Keep watching and you'll see soon.
Much love and light and blessings. Thank you so much.
All right.
And we have our next guest that will be coming in. She's an amazing singer, and I so look forward to having her on. Kalyssamusic, welcome. Welcome.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? You might want to lift that up. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. A little nervous.
I can tell you're a little nervous.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, let the people know who you are, and let us know who you are first and foremost.
Well, my name is Kalyssa. I'm a vocalist, a songwriter from Toronto. Mm-hmm. I write music.
Nice. And how did you get started?
Funny enough, I was working for one of the children's aid societies in Toronto. I was stressed out. I went on a sick leave. I started writing, and I met my producer. And
nice.
I always wrote poetry, but I never knew that I wanted to write music until 2011.
Nice. And when did you realize, you were an artist and that you decided that you wanted to pursue it professionally?
I would say around 2012, but I didn't really take myself seriously for a long time. So part of that was believing in myself, right?
Yeah. But did you, I'm going to take that further. Was there something in you, if you could go back a little bit to childhood that you felt was itching you? Were you the kid that was singing in the bathroom, and were you doing that?
I was.
I felt so.
I was singing any chance I could get, and my brothers would tell me to shut up because I would be in the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but you weren't ready to pursue it yet. But did it keep finding you?
It kept finding me. I mean, my first love of art was dance. Ballet, tap, acro, jazz. I knew I wanted to be on Broadway.
Nice.
Still want to be on Broadway.
Nice. Listen, speak it to existence, man.
Right?
So what inspired you to become an artist?
I guess through my depression. I needed an outlet. I needed a place where I could escape and help others, right? Help others through my lyrics of my music and just reach out to other souls.
Nice. I love that. And do you feel art is therapeutic for you?
Absolutely.
And why?
It pulled me out of a lot of dark places. Suicidal thoughts, whether we want to admit it or not, it crosses our mind at some point. I'm going to say the majority of people, the thoughts are there, and so it
when you have dark experiences and you feel I know for experience of personally me as a writer, there's things that I've been through in my life, and I've wrote about it, and it's definitely made it easier for me to express and get through those healing processes.
Of course. And it's not that you have to directly, say what your experience was, but trauma is trauma. And anyone can relate to trauma. There's different levels of it. And so I feel like anyone can relate to it.
Most definitely. And do you feel you use your art as a therapy?
Yeah.
Yes. And do you find that other people, when they hear your music, they feel it's therapeutic to them?
Well, I mean, when people tell me they get goosebumps, I would assume that is a form of therapy.
Most definitely. Well, that's partially how I found you. I was like, what?
That's the goal.
Right? Right. And do you find that like, okay, for example, I know there's some artists that can write tracks that are like they can just write poppy, and you said you're a songwriter, right? So that you could just write a poppy track, right? But do you find it's more easier for you to write tracks that are when you're going through something?
So, yeah, absolutely. I have a hard time writing when I'm not going through something. So I need to feel that emotion, which is why I never, I choose not to self-medicate with, what's on the market, right? Because then it suppresses my emotions, and I want to embrace those emotions. And
so that you can write through them.
So that I can write through them. And I encourage people, when you're going through depression, embrace those emotions. Try not to fight them. Work through them. Talk yourself through those emotions.
I have a question to that. I know a lot of people, when they're going through those emotions, sometimes they call it the thickness, and they say to sit in it. It's not easy for a lot of people to do that. Most people want to run.
It's uncomfortable.
Very.
We don't like to feel uncomfortable.
No.
But it's that uncomfortable moment that's going to push you to the next level.
To the healing, right?
Absolutely.
Most of. And do you think a lot of artists suffer from depression? And why do you think that is?
I think everybody in the world suffers from it.
Why do you say that?
Because we're living in a world where, it's just, there's so much going on. I think we all experience it. As far as artists, I think we just have found a way to tap into to find that outlet.
The outlet, which is whatever it is. It could be addiction. It could be this. It could be TV. It could be
anything.
Anything that you want it to be. But you feel that at this time, everybody has some type of mental health.
I believe so. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Whether they want to admit it or not, I believe at some point we all go through it. Whether it's a form of depression, whether it's from situational depression, I feel like at some point we all go through anxiety.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I actually do believe that, there's especially from COVID hit, there's everybody, there's some people that can stand it, but there's some people that can't, but there's a lot of people that don't even acknowledge what's going on because they're suffering from PTSD. Or trauma that they don't even realize what's in their lens,
Interesting. Before COVID hit, I was very close to becoming agoraphobic. Thank God I have 2 fur babies at home where they forced me to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I developed a lot of social anxiety. And
I think a lot of people did from COVID.
But
a lot of people are highly socially anxiety. They flip out and they don't even realize that's what's happening.
This was pre-COVID, so I think when COVID hit, I'm like, I need to break free. So once everything started opening, I'm just like, I need to get out. I need to perform again. And
you're more extroverted.
No.
Wow.
No, I get really nervous. You would think after so many years I wouldn't be nervous. I get nervous going on stage, Yeah.
That's highly interesting for somebody that's introverted, because I find that a lot of people that are extroverted, they suffered from COVID, but people that were introverted were like, oh, this is light work.
So I don't even think I hate putting a label on things.
So do I.
I used to think I was introverted, but what I realized
you're just yourself.
I'm very empathic, and I absorb people's energy, and I think you have to learn how to work through, channeling people's energy
and picking up on it, because it's not always positive what you pick up, but it's also not always negative, and you have to know how to cleanse your energy as well, right?
I'm still learning. So.
Yeah, I think we all are. Yeah. If you went back to 1985, who was talking about energy? If you went to 1990,
who was talking about mental health.
Right?
I mean, I was suffering in my own head with my own mental health, and I had no one to talk to because it wasn't spoken about.
And do you think society isolates artists and depression and causes because of lack of support and resources and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think
And
artists.
why?
I think artists are looked at as, we're struggling artists, and we are. And I think there's just this, you should go to school, you should do this. But why? Why do we have to do that? Why can't we follow our dream? And I think that we're looked at in the bottom feeder, kind of.
Kind of like the blue collar worker. Oh, it's just an artist. That's just an artist.
Yeah, you're just an artist.
Yeah, I totally get that.
But I'm me.
Right? It's the most acceptable thing you can be, right? And if you could work with any artist, who would it be and why?
Right now, I would say Tory Lanez. I love Tory Lanez. I think he's
Tory Lanez. Wow,
I'm a huge fan of Tory Lanez. I think I love his music.
Well, you say you want to jump on a sample, or you want to jump on an R&B single.
I would love to jump on an R&B song.
Have you listened to the 1980s album?
Not yet.
Or Alone?
I think did it drop yet?
Yeah, I think so. Or a
single
did.
December 1st.
A single did, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm a huge fan of him. He gets me through my day. So.
Nice. I love that. Canadian talent,
Yeah.
If you could give one message to the world, and I'm going to ask you something after, but if you could give one message to the world, what would it be and why?
Never give up on your dreams, and just practice self-love, self-care, and just love yourself.
Nice. And I'm going to ask you one more thing, just for the viewers and for myself, because I love it. Can you give us a sample of your single, a cappella?
I can give you a sample of Letter to Myself.
I would love that.
But can I pull the mic back? 'Cause
of course, do what you need.
I usually don't sing and sit. So bear with me.
I will.
So just like a little sample?
Whatever you feel.
All right. I wrote you a letter telling you to let go. Oh, the burden you carry, it's tearing through your soul. So that's just a little sample.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wanted more, but it's all love.
I do a lot of talking in that. And on my album that I'm working on, you'll hear a lot of talking.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Your
voice is beautiful. Thank you for coming on Chuuch Live Show.
Peace, love, and light.
Thank you to you too. Big up. And thank you for everybody that tuned in. We're on season 3, episode 9, Chuuch Live Show. You know what it is. Big up. Holla.